This is our Science in the Wild presentation entitled Chronic Marijuana Use Lowers Emotional Intelligence by Sydney, Leah, and Preston. The article we chose was a Forbes article that had information taken from an article published by the American Psychology Association, which had a study that suggested that there were emotional processing deficits in chronic marijuana users. Researchers explored some previously existing research and found some links between long-term cannabis use and emotional processing deficits. And there were common themes from around 41 articles that included a lack of response to emotional stimuli, decreased ability to recognize and differentiate between emotional states, decreased neural activity when exposed to different emotional stimuli, like happy versus sad or angry versus happy, like I said. And this was all linked to chronic marijuana use. Researchers further warned that with the link between chronic cannabis use and emotional intelligence deficits, some users' personal relationships may suffer, which may then lead to further usage in order to cope with those feelings.
Jumping into the author's purpose, looking at the original article, the lead researchers, Alyssa McKenzie and Anita Cervenka of Oregon State University, and their team found that from 2002 to 2017, the adult population cannabis use has increased from 10.4% to 15%. They also found that these increases are concerning as a large body of research has reported that cannabis use may have some negative impacts on cognitive functioning, learning, memory, processing speed, and attention. Additionally, there's emerging research in the area that suggests that cannabis use may affect emotion processing. The purpose of the Forbes article was to bring awareness to the effects of chronic cannabis use, mainly on emotional processing, with such a large increase in usage in adult populations. Due to pre-research negative effects of cannabis use, there's a lot of work being done to acknowledge the public health impact that it may have and to educate people about the long-term impacts on their personal health. Looking into if the work holds up under scrutiny, we ultimately decided yes. The original study that the Forbes article is referencing has an impact factor of 12.3, meaning that it's very highly credible. Forbes doesn't have a traditional impact factor score because it's not an academic journal, but it does have an all sides media bias rating of center and is well respected and reputable among business communities for information that way. The work would hold up better if it was just the article directly from the American Psychological Association, because it would eliminate any interference from the Forbes writer with the intention and integrity of the original work done by the researchers at Oregon State and their teams. As we've represented on the next slide, there's major differences in the website presentation, as well as leading or suggestive title changes that can include some bias and attention grabbing. At the end of the day, we still feel that the Forbes article does not grossly misrepresent the data to say that it doesn't hold any weight at all. Looking at this page, I just included two screenshots, one from the Forbes website and then one from where we got the original article from. As you can see, there are a lot of ads and different distracting things on the Forbes, whereas the other one is just more of an academic journal. I also wanted to highlight the difference between the titles, as one is more leading than the other. The Forbes one is above, and you can see that it says that it suggests, which doesn't completely confirm, but the other one remains way more neutral, saying that it's a review of behavioral and psychological and neural responses. And then at the bottom, I just have the screenshotted impact factor and the all sides media bias rating.
Is the information and content presented in the article sound? The information and content presented in the article is somewhat sound. There are accurate correlations between chronic cannabis use and emotional processing deficits present. However, the article primarily only focuses on negative impacts of cannabis. To improve soundness, the article should incorporate more perspectives as well as emphasize the need for further research into the topic. Potential strengths and/or weaknesses of the content. Strengths. The article outlines directions for future research, such as looking at different age groups for future studies. The researchers reviewed existing studies, which strengthens the article's credibility. Weaknesses. The article focuses primarily on negative aspects of cannabis without discussing potential benefits. The article generalizes the effects of cannabis. Cannabis may have different effects on individuals based on strain, dosage, and frequency of use.
Our discussion question for the class is, with increasing buzzwords surrounding the topic of health and healthcare, how can we support and add to conversations about possible health detriments without oversaturating or misinforming the general public? And here are our article links. We included the article links for also Forbes and the American Psychological Association research paper.